So let's look at a few things here when we get going. One of the things that we're going to review, a few tools we're going to review, and that's the Smart Select and the Merge tool. As you may know, most of you are using the older FSA fields here as a boundary set to kind of get things going. You maybe use them as a template to draw new boundaries, but you can also use them not only to select them and create your forms and maps, but we do have a tool called Smart Select, which allows you to select these boundaries and then also edit those boundaries. Let's take a look at that. So if I select the Smart Select tool, which is under drawing, one thing of note, have your help on off clicked on. What that'll allow is it'll show you help information over here in the lower right where the layers and search tools usually are. So when you go into drawing mode, you'll be able to see that, and it's based on what tool you have selected. So we'll use the Smart Select tool here. We'll go in and select a property. Now, as you may know, or as you may notice, that it is turned blue, and we see these red dots representing nodes or vertices within the field. Now that you have selected and it's blue, you may edit this field. Several quick editing tools. To add a new point, to move a point, you just left click and hold on a point, and you have the capability of moving that point, etc. You can also add points. To add a point, you would just right click. You can right click on a line. It'll place the vertex or node on the line, or you can click outside the line. It'll put the vertex and node where you click and snap the two closest nodes to that. So you can do that. You can also delete a node. So to delete a node, quite clever. You can so select the node you want to delete, and we'll look at this node right here. And now left click and hold like you're going to move it, but what you're going to do is drag it over the top of another node. And as you do that, as you get close, you see one node disappears, and now you're left with instead of two nodes, you're left with one, and you can still move it. Continue on for this point here, and you see it disappears, and you're left with one. Release to set. So those are the quick features. If you want to draw out an exclusion within it, you leave it Smart Select, leave it selected. Now go to the Draw field, click on Draw field, left click once to reselect the field, and now go ahead and draw within the boundary like you normally do, and it will create an exclusion. And you can see here's the total acres of that. So you can draw within that boundary if you need to do some exclusions. And as you take a look, then at any time you can create any maps or forms, and it will use that boundary situated there. Now let's just quickly look at the merge tool. I think it's something important. Now we drew this area out here. Another thing we could have done is use the merge tool. Now if your help window does not show up when you hit merge, go back out to select, come back into drawing, and then select your merge fields tool. Now the merge fields is very straightforward. You click on the properties you want to merge, and over here you have the merge selected. You select that, and now we've merged them. Prove that we merged them. Let's turn off the backgrounds. FSA layer, and then let's look at the FSA map. You can see that we have merged. So just quick little tool that may be handy for you. Before we going further, let's look at some labeling real quick. This gives a little handy tool, but it can be a little tricky. So once you select labeling, you're going to go where you want to place your label. Click once, left click once, and then drag your mouse. As you drag your mouse, you can set your label size. And you can change this, but you can set your label size here. Left click to set it. Now you bring up these tools. Now make sure before you left click, you'll see as you go over some of these things, they flash. If you click outside, you're going to set another label. So be very careful, patient with this tool. So if you want to change label properties, you can. So you could go in and create a new label. You can set rotation here, font, let's just set at 50 here, and you can set font color. You can also set outline color of the font. Hit save, and now you have that. If you want to use any of these tools here, make sure you left click and hold on the tool, and so or delete, make sure you're over. So again, once you're outside, if you left click without hovering over any of these areas or making them flash, you'll set another label, and then you would have to go and delete that label to get back. So it's a little bit tricky tool, so just keep that in mind as you use this tool. Next, we're going to look at some soil options here for setting your report on your report. As you know, when you create a soil map, we not only give you the soil map and mu symbols, we also give you an overview, but we also give you a report on the bottom, and we create a colored legend based on a certain property. In this case here, we're in North Dakota, Minnesota, South Dakota has a state productivity index. Also, if you're Illinois, you have the Illinois has their own version of Illinois Bulletin 11. Iowa has the CRS2 data. So those will also show up in each one of these reports. If you're in those states, if you're outside those states, they will not show up. And of course, across the country, we have the NCCPI, or National Productivity Index, that can compare soils across the country. So you can adjust these properties here. You can change colors, and so let's look at that. So under the tools, we have options, and we have the options page, manage logo, and then we got the soil report options. So the soil report options are the ones where you can set your attributes for that bottom list on the soils report. If you're in some of these states like Illinois and Iowa, we do have some separate properties you can set for those areas. We do have properties you can set for the NCCPI. You can change what crops you want to work with, and then if those crops are reported, they will put them up as far as like yield potential. There's some other properties that you can turn off and on, like range production. So if you're not interested in range production, I would turn that off. We do still have the Nebraska SRPG data in the system. Another thing you can do is there's some soil features that we allow to be displayed also, and you can check those on. And there's some other properties that you can set on those. So keep that in mind. And once you make a change, make sure you hit save, and that will then cause any changes will be displayed here on our soil properties. One thing we'll look at, and we'll talk about that here now. As you see, I have some tools here on the right. If you're not seeing these tools here, that means you are building your map directly to PDF. Now, some of you may prefer that, but if you want to see these tools over here, especially like your soils version, if you need to look at an older soils version, what you do is you go to Tools, Options page, and it's in the printing options. So if you have this one checked, Build Maps to PDF, and when you build your map or form, you're going to see this. And then this is in PDF form, and you can use your PDF tools then to do what you need. If you want to see the other options beside the report, you'll be using that build to web page, and now you will see these other tools. Now here you can view PDF, you can email PDF, you can save the PDF, you can print from here. You've got some map options for attributes. You can edit the field from here. So if you're not seeing these, you just need to set your mapping creation to create to web page, and you will see these options here. Now the other, let's go back. Sorry. The other thing that we want to look at is you can set some of these legend colors, and you can do that again under Tools, Options, Soil Color Options. We do have a host of attributes that you can color code. Mostly are the productivity indices. If they're checked on, it will use that. So if you're in, it'll default in certain areas. So if you're in Illinois, it'll default and use this range of colors on the Bulletin A11 Productivity Index. North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, it'll default to this. And in Iowa, it'll default to this, which is also would be your CSR2. And then, of course, your NCCPI will default to whichever one you have checked here, and it will default to NCCPI only if you either don't have any of these others checked, or you're outside one of the states that have their own productivity indices. Now you can change the colors by just clicking on them. We only give you 10 colors since we are. Yeah, 10 colors, and they're based because we only have 10 ranges. You can also change your ranges by clicking in here and retyping them in. If you miss any data in your ranges, it'll show up as a blank. And you can play around with this and say you must save it when you're done. Play around if you want to change your color schema. If you want to get back to default, you just sit here and it'll take you back to the default color scheme that we set in the system. So as you change that, that will change that. And of course, that refers to whichever legend is used to do the coloring on the map. Now let's go look at some other layers. FEMA. Let's remove this drawing and go somewhere here where we can see some FEMA data. Okay, so under layers, we have several useful layers that you are interested in. Of course, we got the FSA fields here, and that turns those on. But if we scroll down, we see under other. Now, as you scroll down, it might look like this. Just hit the little plus sign next to it, and it'll expand out. And then when you expand it out, you'll see this. And under what we're interested in looking under H2O. and if you click the plus sign there, it opens up and shows you several other layers. One of them is our FEMA flood zones, and as you turn those on, you can see we have the FEMA information. I'm going to turn the background photo off here and these other FSA field boundaries so you can take a look at that. Now at any time you can create an FSA map of whatever is displayed on the map. So that may be another thing you might be interested in. You do not need to have a field selected or drawn to create the FSA map. Whatever you show on your window here, and we can even zoom in here, whatever you show on this window here is what's created in the FSA map window here. So keep that in mind. So we can create a nice overview map if you wish, things of that nature. You can also rename this if you want by just highlighting this and typing over it. So whatever you show here will show up on the FSA map. So this is the FEMA information, and you can change color coding. We don't recommend it because we have it set based on, I believe, based on what they recommend for color coding. We also have the firm panels, so you can turn those on and you can see those. So in your property, you can see the firm panel and the effective dates of those. And of course, as we do have a FEMA, just a report, this FEMA info here, it just shows you info on the property. So let's turn our FSA fields on. Let's select a property here. And that FEMA info is only a breakdown of information within that property, as far as flood zones, firm panels, and effective dates, and any flood zone subtypes. To create a report, you would just do the FSA map. And this can create a nice report for you. We have no legend, but everything is labeled fairly well. Again, if you want to do something with the labels, you can. You can change the labels. You can make them larger if you wish. There's only 2 labels available. We both display both of them. So, and if you do that, you can update to see what it looks like, and then save to make the changes. Also under the H2O, which may be of importance to you, is wetlands, depending on where you are. Let's zoom back out here to an area, with some wetlands, and let's turn that on. Now, as you turn it on, you might see it. You got to zoom in a little ways before it'll turn on for you. And so, as you see here, we can see wetlands. We got them labeled here. You can change coloring schemes again, color by. You can change labels. There is only 3 labels. We have them, I believe, displayed. Maybe not all of them. Type. You can add a label here. You can move them up or down, and then update and save. So you're seeing type or wetland designation type, and then the acreages. But we also have capability of creating a wetland map, and you just select your property, create your wetland map. It'll zoom to the property and create your wetland. It'll also show you a topography map overview, and it'll break down each type of classification or type of wetland and the amount of acres. So that's the wetland map. Again, if you have it turned on, you can also create a nice overview map using the FSA map. And of course, at any time, you can have the ortho photos on and create maps. So that's speaking of orthophoto, and at least the next topic is the topography map. As you see here, we go in, you can select different types of FSA photos depending on your state. We also have the topo map here. You could do an overview map FSA here if you need to, but we also have a topo report. So you can pick your property, and right here we create topo map, and it's going to create that same topography layer and give you a nice map. We just used the DRG. Well, some exciting new topography features coming next year, I think, be welcomed by everyone. Next, we're going to move on to the parcel data. Now, some of you don't have parcel data, but we're gonna quickly talk about the parcel information within Surety. You can access parcel information within the Surety program. Once you have selected and purchased it, you'll see the parcel information layer show up under boundaries. Let's turn the FSA boundaries off here. Let me go to an area here. Look at these parcel information. As you zoom in, you'll see these orange lines, these parcel information. I have the layer turned on. We give you 3 pieces of information, or you can set the labels here. There's quite a few attributes now. Not all attributes available. This is based on availability that the county has made available in a digital format that we can access through a third party. But you can set labels on your Surety program. You can create, of course, FSA maps. You can select these properties and create information from them if you wish. So keep that in mind. If you have the parcel data, it's another boundary set that you can use. Believe they're available in a Smart Select, so you can edit them. And we do have a new feature. You can, let me just go back to selecting one here. This one here we got selected. We do have the parcel info, which will give you whatever information is available for that. You can then also create a parcel report. It'll give you the parcel information, whatever labels, and it's just a little report we created that you can enter information in. So that's the parcel information. If you want more information on how to access the parcel data or to see if it's available, go to our website under pricing, services. You can check availability. So you can pick a state, and it's going to load. Give it a little time to load up. It'll load up. It'll tell you what counties are available. If they're in red and crossed out, that means that they are not available in our system. And they also give you your update for that. Prices for states $150, each additional state's $50, or all states $450. So if you're interested in that, you can also give us a call, drop us an email. We'll have to talk to you about that parcel information. And of course, the last thing we're going to look at here today is this sales data form quickly. Let's turn off the parcel information here, turn back on our FSA fields and select one here. And we'll look at our sales data form. Sales data form is our generic form for tracking sales. Several things to look at here if you're not aware of already is if it's got a date box, you can select the date. You can move month to month. If you see a little pencil beside a box, that means it opens up a small database where you can enter information and create a small database. We also do calculations. You can set the actual acres if you want, for example, here. When you got calculations in here, and our forms can do calculations, so keep that in mind. It does do calculations for you. So we got some other drop-down boxes as yes and no. We got some other features here, and we also got the soils weighted average. It doesn't autofill. You need to pick what you want to do. So if you're, I believe, outside of the states that have just, if you're in the state that only has NCCPI, I believe it autofills. If not, you pick which one you want to use. And does give you a small soils map here with the mu symbols. So keep that in mind. Now, speaking of forms, we do have a custom form request. So you can have us create a form for you if you need changes to anything, or if you want something set up, such as your own sales data form or what have you. We can custom create a form for you. Two ways. The best way to do that is if you are an admin, you can do a form request, and you'll fill in your information. Just put a description, maybe attach, if you have a sample of what you want to look at, just you can attach that and save it. It notifies our form designers, and then they will contact you. Or you can give us a call or drop us an email, and we'd be happy to help you out with that. Again, we went through quite a bit of information today. Hopefully you picked up a few pointers. Again, this is going to be available to you on our YouTube channel, and you can watch that or let your colleagues know of this video anytime you want to view it. It'll be there. On Thursday, we will be revealing a quick review of some Surety Pro features. Even if you're not a Surety Pro user, if you want to just watch it live or watch the video later on just to see some of the extra features within Surety Pro, you're more than welcome to. With that, I thank you for your time. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to email them to me or give us a call. We'd be happy to answer your questions. Thank you and have a good day.